This week in gaming was yet another great week for Battlefield 6. Hell Let Loose Vietnam got hundreds of changes with its second update since launch, a playable build of Grand Theft Auto 6 leaked online, and much more. Battlefield 6's Top Gun update has kind of been a slam dunk. DICE's latest remake of Waste Island is maybe one of the best versions they've ever done. The new Carrier Assault game mode has been a little bit more of a mixed bag, which is often the case for these time-limited game mode events. They're just not that well balanced. The new Interdictor sniper rifle has a pretty aggressive one-shot kill range, although it is balanced out for by having a smaller ammo pool and one of the slowest rates of fire. But when everything lines up, it's quite enjoyable. So far, Season 4 is bringing a ton to Battlefield 6 that it lacked, like naval combat and more interesting game modes. Hopefully DICE can polish up Carrier Assault and add it as a permanent mode, which I know a lot of fans have been wanting. It's also great to see the concurrent player count on Steam holding stronger at higher levels than Season 3, which was also a pretty solid update for the game. And Battlefield 6 is currently having a free-to-play event which goes through till the 25th. Now, speaking of solid updates, Hell Let Loose Vietnam's 1.2 patch launched this week, fixing hundreds of bugs including major crashes, performance problems, map exploits, quality of life issues, and more. And while the game is generally solid, it launched a bit half-baked with some day one issues that really should have been ironed out prior to launch. The devs also released a roadmap for the game detailing its next 3 major updates. Update 1.5 will launch in September, adding the M14 and SKS Chinese Type 56 rifles. It'll also add a more authentic Huey helicopter model officially licensed from the manufacturer, and it'll include the ability for pilots and co-pilots to blast music from those helicopters. Now, further down the road, Update 2.0 doesn't have a firm release date, but it'll add a new map, 2 new allied factions, and 3 new guns. And beyond that, Update 3.0 will also add a new map, APC vehicles for both sides, and 4 new guns. All of this content, surprisingly, is due out this year, so it doesn't seem like you'll have to wait too long for, and hopefully this means the devs are really committed to supporting this game, at least in the near term. A leaker has been flooding the internet with gameplay recordings of Grand Theft Auto 6 3 months before the game launches. The leaker goes by CyberLeak, and they've posted several minutes of gameplay while also promoting their meme coin and claiming to be leaking this content in protest of Rockstar not releasing a physical edition of the game. And based on the footage, it's clear the leaker has access to a playable pre-release build that was likely intended as a vertical slice for filming trailers or media. Most of the gameplay that's been released is set during a specific mission. The UI is clearly unfinished, and the full map doesn't seem to be accessible. That said, it's pretty crazy how extensive the leak actually is. It's also clear that whoever CyberLeak is, they're potentially in line to get their cheeks slapped by Take-Two's lawyers. The publisher has already started legal actions against the leaker, subpoenaing Microsoft and Discord for data that will identify the user. Back in 2022, a hacker used an Amazon Fire Stick, hotel TV, and his cell phone to breach Rockstar and release nearly 100 gameplay clips. They also threatened to release the game's source code. The hacker was identified and initially sentenced to an indefinite detention in a secure psychiatric hospital. This year, they were transferred to a prison ahead of their criminal trial. So whoever CyberLeak is, they better have a good lawyer. STALKER 2's biggest update since it launched 2 years ago dropped this week, radically improving the game's performance and overhauling the world with improved foliage, new points of interest, and more. On top of the update, the developers also released the game's first major expansion, Cost of Hope. This is a $30 DLC that adds several major missions set in new areas of the zone, including the Iron Forest, Chernobyl nuclear power plant, and the destroyed Circa facility. And while $30 may seem steep, I have been playing the DLC since it launched, and so far my impressions are that, well, there's a lot of content there. I'm also very impressed with the improvements that the devs have made to performance. The game runs so much better now, and it even looks better than it used to. Stay tuned for an upcoming video on this DLC. Beta dates and times for the upcoming tactical FPS WARDOGS have been announced. Sign-ups are available on Steam, and players will gain access from today to Monday evening. Folks that have pre-ordered the game are guaranteed access. People signing up for the beta on Steam aren't likely to get invited until later in the weekend, according to developers. Arc Raiders made a very welcome change to the scheduling of map conditions. These are special events that players can select, like fighting a Queen Arc or looting during a massive thunderstorm. They offer unique loot and gameplay conditions, and often offer resources you can't get any other way. This new change means that map conditions will now follow regional timing and rotation based on peak hours. Prior to the change, map conditions were on a fixed global timer, with some events only happening once or twice a day, often very late in the night or in the middle of the day. This is great for people with, lives and schedules. This week's update also adds a new Raider project players can complete for loot and cosmetics. Early access underwater survival game Subnautica 2 just got a major update to its co-op feature. Update 1.2 adds proximity chat, a player revive mechanic, emotes, player item trading, new character options, improvements to base building, and hundreds of bug fixes. Honestly, this update is massive in terms of quality of life changes and fixes, so if you've been on a break from the game, it might be a good time to dive back in, pun intended. The devs say a new biome and missions are on their way as well. After 18 years, Metal Gear Solid 4 has finally been freed from its PlayStation 3 prison. Well, almost. The 2008 tactical stealth action title was a technical marvel for its time and was one of the more outlandish entries in the franchise. And this week, Konami lifted the review embargo on a remaster of the game as part of Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, which also includes Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. The collection launches on the 27th, and reviewers are offering some pretty solid praise here, though most reviews highlight how divisive Metal Gear Solid 4 was and continues to be. Basically, if you're a big fan of the franchise or never got a chance to play Metal Gear Solid 4, this is a pretty easy recommendation. The rest of the package isn't quite as enticing. Guerrilla Games is taking the next entry in their Horizon open world RPG series back to the drawing board. Horizon Hunter's Gathering is apparently being reworked based on negative feedback it's gotten during production. Reports suggest the game's live service components are being dropped and the game is being overhauled as a strictly co-op experience. As for what this game even is, well, it's not a direct sequel to Horizon Forbidden West, which was the second game in the franchise which launched back in 2022. And since that launch, the devs have been in production on Hunter's Gathering, which was originally envisioned as a live service multiplayer title. The change in direction allegedly includes reduced scope and focus on story mode. The really crazy part though is that Guerrilla Games put basically their entire studio on this project instead of a third mainline entry to follow up Forbidden West. And while there is a more traditional sequel apparently in production, at least to some extent, well, it's not expected to launch for several years at least. Now, speaking of production, if you want to see where my game production stands, check out the latest devlog for Seabeams, a spaceship action RPG that I've been building with my game studio Distant Light Games and the backing from publisher Hooded Horse. I'm really excited about our progress. The devlogs are fun for me to show you guys some behind the scenes game dev stuff. I think you'll like it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.